So before we do that, let's have a word of prayer, Mishpachah, and let's get right into the word of the Most High. So I hope everyone can hear me, and I pray that you all are in excellent health. Let me check everyone first. Let's see. Well, shalom, shalom. I'm seeing a lot of new names in our chat room and also in our panelist. Let's see. All right, let's have a word of prayer, and then we'll get right into the word of the Most High. Baruch haba Yehovah Eloheinu melech olam. Father, we come before you. We give all praise unto your name, and we thank you so much for your love and your mercy, which endures forever. Father, the last days is clearly before us. Everything that we see, every experience that we've been through is manifesting that the times are truly short, and how cold the hearts of men have become, that even your very creation, they have no concern whatsoever. Father, look down from heaven and see that all creation is aching for your return. If we are not your chosen people, if there's no human being left to give you praise, Father, remember the innocent creatures, even the animals on this earth that don't have a voice, but they are part of your creation. I pray, Abba, please, for the sake of all that is good, I know that you have the power to redo all things and make things anew. But I pray that you would salvage the good on this earth, and restore back all things the way it should be. Bless all our brethren, our little ones, our older ones, our families far and near, the whole house of Israel. Remember us and gather us again. Pour out a blessing upon us. We thank you and we love you. In Yeshua's name, amen. Sometimes, brethren, when we go back into our scrolls, we have to look at the voices of the prophets and how they phrase certain things, the prayers that came out from their mouths, asking the Most High questions and trying to make sense when they look around and they see how bad things were in their time. They're trying to make sense of life. Today has been a day for me of reflection, internally processing my life and my life story, where I've been and how many times the Most High has delivered me from many, many, many things. When you go out and you come back in, you have to give the Most High all the praise and glory. And you also have to ask questions, just like the prophets did. When you see things, when you see the wicked things that are happening, sometimes you put your hand in your heart that says, "Oh Father, this, you must put an end to this thing." When you watch the news and you see that people are doing such abominations in this earth. I was looking at an article. I'm not going to pull it up, but I'll just mention it. Where there were some young men. I think it's in Brazil or one of those South American countries that took two people. They murdered them, but before they did that, there was some cannibalism on one lady that they did to this one lady that it's heartbreaking. And when I look at the photographs of who the perpetrators were, the criminals were, There were Hebrews. Hebrews in the Brazilian diaspora. What would drive a person to dismember someone, sexually violate them, dismember them, eat their flesh, and act as if nothing is wrong? There is definitely an unclean spirit, or spirits plural, that has caused this earth to be so cold-hearted that it is it is a wonder that this earth is not destroyed as yet. And what we're seeing every day is a decay, a falling apart of anything that is good. The animals are crying out. In the news, I saw that a lot of, I think it's a lot of monkeys or whatever it is. Let me see. I guess they broke out of from some facility. Yeah. Let me pull this up so you all can see it. Where is it? Right here. In the Daily Mail, it says Paris Zoo is evacuated after 52 baboons escaped their enclosure. 52 primates got out of Paris' main zoo today, forcing it to be closed. Workers at the attraction in Vincennes area spotted the breakout this morning. The animals are giving us clues and signs that, and there goes the police. The police. Wow. All they want is just to live in peace, just to do what they were designed to do. They're not asking for anything more. They don't want what we have. They just want to be left alone. That's all the creatures of the Most High is asking. You know, they just want to do what monkeys supposed to do, have a family and just. But there's a people on this earth that cannot leave the Most High's creatures alone. They capture them in the wild. They make backdoor deals with the natives of whatever country, whether it's South America or Africa or some parts of Asia. Make these deals with the poor people, promising them silver and gold and everything else, like Satan always do, for access to the lands of the people, to exploit their natural resources and even the living creatures. And the people not knowing what's going on and not seeing the full end, that the Most High has placed all these creatures not just to demonstrate that he's all powerful and such like. He has placed even the very tick, the very flea has a purpose. The flies, the maggots, they all have a purpose. They were all made by the Most High to perform a certain role within nature. Even on our skins, there are little creatures that looks like fleas that clean the dead flesh on your eyelids and go into your ears, and they do certain jobs and stuff. That's part, because we are earth. They're going through our bodies and removing certain things because we are part of this earth. And it's the same way that you have earthworms moving through the soil, and you have all these different creatures moving through the soil to aerate the soil and to help the nutrients and to help the plants, and the plants contribute something. It's called a symbiotic environment where everyone shares something. They depend on each other. But one creature on this earth seems to believe that they have the answers for everything. And in the book of, let me pull it up, Genesis, the book of Genesis chapter 1 lets us know that the Most High's earth didn't need any help. Book of Genesis chapter 1, Verses 1 says, in the beginning, Elohim created the heaven and the earth. Let me skip on down to the plant life. Let's go to verses 10. And Elohim called the dry land earth and gathered together the waters called he seas. And Elohim saw that it was good. And Elohim said, let the earth bring forth grass, herbs yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth, and it was so. And the earth brought forth grass and herbs yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself after his kind. And Elohim saw that it was good. End of story. He has created all his creatures, the herbs to produce seed, the fruit trees to have seed, everything to produce something after its kind. And that's something that is done by itself. It doesn't need someone to come around in a truck and stick their little fingers up in the flowers and put pollen and capture whole colonies of bees and force them to work for them. Because believe you me, Mishpachah, maybe y'all don't know this, but do you know that when you get your pecans, when you get your peach, all of your different fruits and vegetables, or basically your nut seeds and whatnot, your fruit trees and stuff, that there is an industry of kidnapping bees and forcing them to work like slaves. They take the bees in these 18-wheel vehicles, bring them to these farms, whether it's pecans or I don't know, walnut, whatever, and then they train them in such a way, because bees always return back home to the hive, and they force them. They open up the stuff and force them to go. They travel throughout the place and they pollinate all the different fruit trees and whatnot. And then they come back home. And then they close up the vehicles so the bees don't have the ability to go in and out, to urinate and all that kind of stuff. Because bees have to urinate too. I don't know if you know that. They have to expel the impurities from their bodies, just like every creature on this earth. And they're locked up in these vehicles for hours. And that causes the sickness to develop within the creatures. This type of technique that is used in agriculture is dominant for the most part in places like California. So when you see that there's a disaster in California, fires, farms are being burnt, all these things are being destroyed, it's much more than what we think that we see in the news. Because we're looking one way at the news, but the Most High wants us to see what is happening on this earth, what people are trying to do. And the bees are taken from one farm to another. I remember watching this documentary on Netflix. I'm not sure if it's still there, because Netflix have a habit of removing things. They'll put it up, and when it puts out too much information, they pull it. And if you didn't know about it, you'll never know about it. And in this documentary, they show you this guy. You know, he brought his 18-wheeler on this farm. It was what do you call that type of nut? I think is it pistachios? It was some kind of a nut tree. And while he was being interviewed, the reporter was like, the guy stopped for a moment and said to the reporter, do you hear that? That's the sound of money. And what he was talking about was the bees, the buzzing of the bees. And while they're doing this interview, this reporting to make this documentary, you can see that the people have no regard for the Most High's creation, the bees, that they would pass around with these machines to spray pesticide stuff, to spray the crops and whatnot. And when they spray the crops, even the bees themselves get infected, they die. And the guy doesn't care. He just packs up, move on, gets more bees, and then continue the process over and over. And they realize that with the genetic modification of these bees, because in the old days, bees were like everywhere. Now you can hardly find a bee. But there's one type of species that produce the best honey, and you can look this up. But these bees are very fierce. They're called African honeybees. They're very, very fierce. And they're trying now to grab those bees because of the quality that they produce, and to make a more domesticated version of those bees so they can continue raping and robbing the little creatures of the Most High. So the Most High's creation is not good enough. It has to be made in their image. And they continue to say, well, it's good. It's good because look at, there's 7 billion people on the planet. We don't have enough honey. We don't have enough this. We don't have enough that and whatnot. So let us do this and that. Let's produce more. The Bible called it exploits. These are the people that the Bible says in the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28, that is going to be a fierce people who will not regard the young or the old. This is the prophecy of people who are basically called heartless. Heartless people. People that will look at the Most High's creation and tie them down to a table, cut them up in pieces, and do all kinds of things, sew them back up together, and put them in another cage to keep them alive, to torture them another day. Once they have achieved whatever they're looking for, they don't need those creatures anymore. They just get rid of them. Let me read on some more. Book of Genesis. Let me skip on down to verses 21. 20. And Elohim said, let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that have life. Let me talk about water for a moment. When I was a child, this type of thing called bottled water didn't exist, as far as I know. We used to get water from either the rivers, from the rainfall, and that was sufficient. Now we have to buy bottled water because the water that's coming through even the very rivers and streams, it's not good enough. It's not clean anymore. So guess what? We have to go through the science, the madness of the nations, to design an apparatus, a tool, a machine to purify water so we can drink. And on top of that, it's so bad that, see, when you are not a people that like to exploit, you're not thinking that water is absorbed through your skin. You're not thinking about your body. Your skin is the largest organ on your body. You're not thinking all these things. You're just thinking, just drink water, live, eat food, and just live. But the people who do the exploits, they know that water is essential, not just for drinking, but the application of water on our skin for cleaning has to be pure. If you're bathing in filthy water, brothers and sisters. Water filled with all types of hormones and poisons and everything else. We call it tap water. That stuff is absorbed into your body. It affects your body. I remember listening to a researcher who said that the last war, or the next war, I should say, not the last war, but the next war is probably going to be over water. And people don't really think about it, but there's something powerful about that. Because water, the whole entire earth needs water just to survive. We don't need gasoline. We definitely don't need oil. We don't need all these things, but water, we need water. And so the water has become so polluted that we can't even trust taking a shower. I was having a conversation with a gentleman, and we were talking about the floating island somewhere in the Gulf of Mexico. And he told me, I haven't confirmed it, but he said that the island, first of all, is an island of trash. The island is probably about the size of, I think he was exaggerated, but he said something about Texas. Now, if that was the size of Texas, that would be a huge concern. But it was a large island of plastic trash. And that's it. We were given the responsibility to take care of this earth. And let me read on before I continue ranting here. He says, let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that have life. When you have life, you give life. Every creature that the Most High has made in the waters have a responsibility to keep the waters the way it's supposed to be. Clean. One animal eats a certain thing in the food chain or the ecosystem that keeps balance in the waters. And then there's another creature that eats that creature to keep balance so that everything is kind of like balanced out at the end of the day. When you go into the waters and you take the shrimps, which are supposed to move around like the trash collectors and find and locate missing pieces of feces and different things, and you eat those things, you're not only putting poisons into your body, but you're causing the waters to be polluted. Those creatures are designed specifically to move around in certain places and to track the pollution, extract it into their bodies, and break that thing down, pass it out. And then you have the bacterias that changes things from nitrates to nitrites or whatever it is that they call it, back into pure water so we can drink it. And so that the other creatures that have a job can live and breathe. Because if there's a breakdown in this very generic system, the simple system of the shrimps and the clams and whatnot, if that fails, you're going to have a problem with the whales. They can't breathe in the water. The fish don't have enough oxygen. Everything starts to fall apart. So now you don't have tuna to put on your table. You don't have fresh fish to put on your table. You have nothing. And when those creatures fail, guess what? The birds who eat certain things, sardines or whatever it is, they start to fail too. And when they fail, it continues to ricochet throughout the whole ecosystem of this earth. It affects all of us. But there's a genius. Oh, there's a special genius. A special genius who brought our people here on slave ships. There are actually geniuses that brought our people on slave ships, not just here in America, but throughout the whole world. They make up what you call the iron and the clay. The iron and the clay. We call it the Islamic folks and the Romans, these two. And both of them have the seed of Esau. both of them are considered Gentiles. And yes, they divide this earth up religiously, but also scientifically. If you have to really go into how this earth operates, you see, the European Gentiles creates inventions of machine, but they need fuel to run those machines. They need monies. They need a system to create an economy to finance their wickedness, their wicked inventions in this earth. And so you have the suppliers of fuel in those desert countries that supply what is necessary to run this wicked invention. And then when you look to the east, over in India and China and those places, Taiwan and whatnot, you have the workers who produce the things for cheap. They pollute the atmosphere, they pollute the waters. They're working against themselves to their own destruction, to the destruction of the only place that we have that has oxygen and fresh water. You mean to tell me that the Most High have so much fresh oxygen that that's not good enough for you? That you have to go to your blackboard, your chalkboard, and write up formulas. If I take this and I mix this with that, and I do this wizardry, that's why, they call brainiacs wizards. Because it's true. It's sorcery. So they go to the blackboards, and they start formulating all of these different inventions and saying, we're going to produce oxygen in a laboratory. And it's going to be 100%, 99.9% purer than what the Most High has made. And we'll sell it to you for the price. We had a Hebrew that changed his face so much because he wanted to be like the Europeans, that he kept going for operation after operation until he had no nose. You couldn't even recognize him anymore. And he used to sleep in a chamber and had his oxygen is produced in a laboratory oxygen, because the scientists don't go out there and siphon oxygen. They're producing this thing in a laboratory. When they do these things, they sell it to you, and people buy this stuff with a list of things that is good for. Well, the fresh oxygen increases your the sensory glands and your intellect. You can be more creative. You can see more. You can all kinds of stuff. This is how they deceive and sell out everything that the Most High has made that he said was good. Formulas for destruction, trying to be God. And one of the creatures that they use, that they always use, because they said that this creature is closer to mankind, and they have even designed a category placing them and human beings in the same category, calling us primates. So, Mishpachah, let me ask you something. Are you a primate? A mate that is primal? A primate, a primal mate. Is that who you are? And the poor monkey has never started a war. The poor monkeys has never robbed anyone. The poor monkeys have never designed a lab. They say that the monkeys are very intelligent. The only problem that they have is that they cannot speak. But the same people who put us in a category as primates themselves have to take the time to train these creatures how to do certain things. The monkeys didn't ask to be trained to do anything. They're not asked to train how to move a banana from one hole into another hole and ring the bell. They're not asking for that. All of your science, all of the science that we use in primary school, in grade school, or whatever it is, you know where it comes from? It comes from exploiting creatures that the Most High made. Think about that. Every frog that you open up in a jar that smells so stink. I remember I had a professor. He was from Africa. That was in my biology class. He wasn't the best or the most pleasant teacher, but he forced his students. He would give you an F on the spot if you didn't cut open a frog. Now, as a child, I knew that those things were unclean because our family, for the longest of times, was always kosher in that way. We didn't eat unclean things. We didn't touch those things and so forth and such like. But in school, we were forced to get a grade by degrading ourselves. Get a grade by degrading ourselves. And that's what they do, Mishpachah. You got all of these rabbits and all these creatures that are in these vials and these bottles and whatnot. And they say, well, this is for the good of mankind. To take these creatures and to put suffering on them. Brothers and sisters, let me tell you something. I know that we have done videos and classes that is similar, but we need to remind ourselves because we can be lullaby to sleep. Okay, they can sing nursery rhymes in our ears until we fall asleep. On the screen, you can see the problem. So looking at the board, the problem in a suit is looking at the board for solutions. And the poor monkey standing on the side looking at the madness of these people. Let me go back to the scriptures and let's read a little bit more. Most High is going to require from them to give an account for all the crimes that they have committed upon the face of this earth. Make no mistake about it. Most High is not playing. So the creatures that's supposed to move on this earth, to take care of the waters, to bring life, the fowls that fly above the earth, these creatures are being compromised today. The Most High says, and Elohim created great whales and every living creature that moveth, which the waters brought forth abundantly after their kind, and every, in 1 second, let me fix my screen here. And every winged fowl after his kind, and Elohim saw that it was good. It was good. And Elohim blessed them. But what do we find today? We find mankind has cursed them, saying, be fruitful. You are the ones that's supposed to do this thing yourselves. The monkey don't have his business, no business whatsoever, going over to the horse and saying, let me mess around with the jewels so we can help you to produce young ones. Let me help you to deliver your little foals, your little horse babies. The Most High left the horses on their own to bring forth their own offspring. But we have what you call animal doctors, and they show you them right there trying to deliver a sheep or something, trying to mess around with these creatures. So what were the creatures doing before? What does the elephant do in a while? They don't need a doctor to help them to deliver their own offspring. Because something is wrong with this creation. We are supposed to deal with our own stuff, and every creature has to do their own stuff. That's why the monkeys decides to, hey, let's get out of here. let's let's break from this prison. And who's called? Not the zookeepers, the police is called. The police. Because the police are put there for law and order, to execute law and order. They call it public safety, but whose lives is really at danger, in danger? That's the monkeys. Because only the monkeys, if they could speak, they can actually testify of the crimes that has been committed against them and the perversion that has been unleashed on them as a species. The perversion. I don't want to go any further than that, because if I have to share with you things, brothers and sisters, some of your brains will, it's very disturbing. Let's put it that way. Be fruitful and multiply and fill the waters and the seas, and let the fowl multiply in the earth. And the evening and the morning were the fifth day. And Elohim said, let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind. The creatures are going to do this themselves. They don't need a scientist to be up in their business, moving around things and saying, oh, we're going to plant this egg back into the womb. We're going to move this sperm from over here because we found this perfect monkey or this perfect rhinoceros, and we're going to take his seed and we're going to do this and that. They don't even allow the creatures to go mate with a female that they can produce offspring. You know, they're not even allowing them to have a private moment. You have a crew of people around them with cameras. And they don't even do that anymore. Now they're moving the rhinoceros or the elephant in a private room and put an artificial rumping station right here and forcing the animals to mate with an idol, mishpachah, an idol. Something that looks not even close to a rhinoceros. And the creature's brains are scrambled. They're thinking, hey, this, because, you know, part of our creation, we have sensory glands that lets us know that once I go through this, okay, I'm going to return. This is a cycle. I return back to this form in order for me to produce seed. This is the place that the seed has to go. I went through the process. I had the experience. Next year, I'm going to come back to produce another one. And the year after that, you know. So if the creature is brought to a machine to simulate intercourse, what is the rhinoceros going to do in a while? He's disconnected from the natural order that the Most High has set. And now anything that he sees that he wants to get off with, he's going to jump on that. It can be a tree, whatever it is. Brothers and sisters, the culprit is the same suit that I showed you, the same Gentile nations who don't consider anything in the Most High's creation. And yes, there's some soft and cuddly Gentiles out there that believe in protecting the creation, but guess what? In many cases, almost in all cases, they're also the left hand of the devil. Meaning, the same companies that are destroying, the pharmaceutical companies that exploit the Most High's creation, also has a reserve fund that financed or creates these foundations. Save the Tree Foundation, Save the Animals Foundation, to finance the feel-good Gentiles on the other side, to keep things, you know, quiet, to give us an appearance that everything is moving smooth, that nothing is disturbed in creation. These Gentiles go out and they pat the bears in a while. They take pictures showing you these things. And the bears is like, what are you doing over here? They sedate the bears, they feed them, to do all kinds of different things, and make you feel that they are doing something good because the population of the bears are dropping. And we want to know why. We need to know why these things are happening. And perhaps it's something in the food. So we're going to check the berries out. They're all connected. Satan has 2 hands and 2 feet, as far as I know. Brothers and sisters, don't let them fool you. Whether they're in some foundation or not. And I had a conversation with a Gentile about the same thing too, about these foundations. This man was telling me that he's involved in carbon forming, working with tires to make this special fabric that goes into tires. Says all these tires have this thing. It's a carbon filament or something like that. So I looked at him and I says, are you contributing to the good of this creation, or are you destroying it? He got real quiet. Oh, I think I'm doing something good. I think I'm doing something good. He says he travels all over the earth, and India is one of his playgrounds. And he likes to sneak up on the Indians because he wants to catch them at the facility not doing what they're supposed to do, just to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do. And what he's talking about, he says that a lot of times they break the code. They would try to cut corners and stuff. And he travels around to make sure that everyone is doing what they're supposed to do. And he's a scientist. And after a little chat and everything else, you can tell that the Most High troubles these people, because when you look at the end game, they understand that they're not contributing anything good. All they're doing is rearranging the Most High's order, trying to be God, playing God, saying, well, this river shouldn't be really running here. We can do a better job. Let's move the river 2 kilometers up. Let's divert it over here, and we're going to do something better over here. There's a place in America that is similar to that. It's called New Orleans. Putting all these dams up and changing things, but nature, the Most High has a way of making people understand that he's in control. Let's continue. And Elohim said, let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind, cattle and creeping thing, and beast of the earth after his kind, and it was so. Elohim made the beast of the earth after his kind, the cattle after their kind, and everything that creepeth upon the earth after his kind. And Elohim saw that it was good. End of story. Everything that he made, brothers and sisters, was good. And Elohim said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness. Let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. Now, basically, in order for you to have dominion, you have to study the animals. You have to know the migratory patterns. You have to know how one affects the other. You have to know these things, and the Most High has given that ability to us, but he never said for us to interfere with what those creatures were set up to do. He never said to go and move the giraffe and place them in another country. He never said for us to go and capture 100 monkeys, put them in a cage, and make money off of them by having people walk by and feed them peanuts and stuff, or feed them popcorn. And all the creatures can do is sit down on this concrete. There's no concrete in the wild. They're sitting down in this concrete designed pool with a little bit of water here and there may be some artificial trees in the background or whatever it is. The Most High never intended for those creatures to be in a dead place or prison. He says, let them move throughout the earth, upon the earth, after its kind. He didn't say in prison. He never said prison. The Most High, when he placed Adam and Eve in a specific place, it was called a garden. It wasn't called a prison, a garden. When men sinned, then he put a prison guard at the door with the flames of fire, a sword of fire, to keep us from going back into that place. The whole idea of prison comes from mankind. We have actually done a very good job at facilitating human or species or living, the living, to imprison things, to imprison this planet. We have done such a good job that we even have psychiatrists that is specific or is that are trained specifically for helping us to survive in a prison, by telling us it's not so bad, by helping us to understand how we're feeling, our deeper feelings, so that we're not going to lose our lives while we're in prison. And guess what, Mishpachah? This is not only for human beings, but do you know that zoos have psychiatrists too? The zoos have psychiatrists that look at the expressions, they study the movements of the animals, because they study them in the wild when they were free and happy, and they record all the movements, whether the monkey's face is down or up, whether he was jumping like he was happy, swinging on the trees, the way that the birds would fly. They study everything, and they know this is what freedom is all about. This is happiness. They put that in their books. They got it in their video logs, and then they put it in the zoos. And now they're capturing these animals. And what they do, they try to replicate the freedom in a confined environment. They try to replicate everything that the animals had in the wild, but this time in a controlled environment. And they check the blood every so often to monitor the pressure of the animals. And they check the diet. Well, maybe if I can give them the red peas, it'll make them feel better. If we mash this up a certain way and give it to them, it'll make them feel better. No, you need to let them go. Monkeys don't swing on trees in the redwood forests. They have their own location, okay? Parrots and parakeets don't need to be in certain environments. They need to be where they belong, in those environments. Every creature deserves to be free. And so these zoologists study these creatures, exploit them, and not only that, brothers and sisters, but the research that they use from these animals is part of our Sex 101 teaching in the public schools. Do you know that the one who pushed the sex education, his name is Alfred Kinsey. Alfred Kinsey. You know what his profession is? A zoologist. Let me pull it up for you. Alfred Kinsey. Here he is. Here is the criminal. An American biologist, and he's what? In zoology. And he was the one who put out these books, research that he has done, and he's also a pedophile. A pedophile. He is the one who was, you can call him the father of sex education. And you have to wonder, and here it goes. It says Kinsey parents were devout Christians, Methodists. Okay. Let me skip on down just a little bit. Let me see. You could probably read the article on your own. And it says right here, Kinsey was bisexual, and as a young man would punish himself for having homosexual feelings. It goes on and on. So the spirit that's within this man was transmitted onto paper. And this is why we have today the sexual revolution. He says, as well as liberating female sexuality. That's part of his work. So the question is, how do you gain your knowledge about the sexual beings of animals, the sexual operation of animals, and also the sexual operation to put information about how old these certain types of sexual manifestation begins? That's the question. Because in order for you to know if that seed that is put in the earth has roots, you have to dig in the soil. You have to be able to be close to when the process is happening, at the early stage of processing, to see what is happening beneath the surface, to know what is really happening. I hope you all understand what I'm saying. In order for you to have data that speaks about the early stages, sexual development of infants, you have to be in contact with little babies, brothers and sisters. And that data, that research material, is put together and it formulates what you call your sex education manual that is used in school today. When you look into the background of this person, this nut, it says Kinsey obtained research funding from who? The Rockefeller Foundation, which enabled him to further study human sexual behavior. The Rockefeller Foundation, Mishpachah, do you want to know who they're connected to? They're also connected to, and I wish I had my book in front of me. We all know that they're connected to the oil industry, but they're also connected to, and let me get a drum roll, the missionaries. The Rockefeller Foundation or family is part of the missionary movement. They finance the missionary movement. They have connections with church, Mishpachah, the same church that have the book of Genesis in their hands, that understand that the Most High says, leave things the way I made it, because these things are good. Let me see if there's anything else I want from this article. So he was deeply involved in sexual experimentations as being necessary to gain the confidence of his research subjects. He encouraged his staff to be involved in certain things, his staff and all of these people. There was a lot of secrecy behind this man's work, Mishpachah. Much of his work, some of the data published in two Kinsey reports is controversial in the scientific and psychiatric communities and such like. Kinsey collected sexual material from around the world, which brought him to the attention of the U.S. Customs when they seized some pornographic films in 1956. Look at what he did. Kinsey wrote about pre. I don't even want to go into that. But let's look at the age. Over 300 children aged from 2 months to 15 years involved in exploitation for his research. So, brothers and sisters, I'll leave this alone. Let's close this out. Let's go back to the book of Genesis. So Elohim created man in his own image. An image of Elohim created he him, male and female created he them. He blessed them, and Elohim said unto them, be fruitful and multiply, replenish the earth, subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. And he said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed, to you it shall be for meat, for food. And to the beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat. And it was so. But what's wrong with the Most High's creation? We know that sin came about and things start to go upside down. Let's take a look at, let me go real quick. Give me 1 second here. And let's go to Ecclesiastes 9. Chapter 9. And we'll read a little bit verses 3. Let's see. Let's read from verses 1. For all this I considered in my heart, even to declare all this, that the righteous and the wise and their works are in the hand of Elohim. No man knoweth either love or hatred by all that is before them. All things come alike to all. There is one event to the righteous and one to the wicked. All praises to our King. To the good and to the clean and to the unclean, to him that sacrificeth and to him that sacrificeth not. As is the good, so is the sinner, and he that sweareth, as he that feareth an oath. Verses 3. This is an evil among all things that are done under the sun, that there is one event unto all, yea, also, the heart of the sons of men is full of evil, and madness is in their heart while they live. And after that, they go to the dead. Mishpachah, let me tell you something. Mankind today has to really give an account. The way that they dismiss themselves from being to be accountable for their crimes is that we must first publish works to prove that there is no God. And when we achieve this thing, then our minds will no longer be troubled at all that we have to face a judge one day. In the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2, Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2, and we're going to start at verses 1. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2. And I'm going to read a few articles in a moment so we can see why these classes are so important. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2, and verses 1. For the ungodly said, reason with themselves. You know, they have these group meetings and stuff, and sometimes you can hear them on the telephone talking to Fred, Frank, Bill, whoever it is, about certain things. And they have these meetings because in their minds, money is very, very, very important. Trafficking, not just of souls. Trafficking, and trafficking of souls is not just you kidnapping people and smuggling them through countries and keeping them as prisoners. Souls can be held hostage by saying, we're going to pollute the waters, and now you got to come to us to get fresh water. And therefore, you're a hostage. You got to do whatever they say to do so you can stay alive. Because after all, we want to live, right? So they reason with themselves, but not aright. Their meetings is not right, Mishpachah. Our life is short and tedious. It's a lot of work, and it's short-lived. And in the death of a man there is no remedy. Neither was there any man known to have returned from the grave. For we are born at all adventure, and we shall be hereafter as though we have never been. For the breath in our nostril is as smoke, and a little spark in the moving of our heart. It's amazing that the scriptures really lets us know that there's electrical current moving within our bodies, a little spark. That's why when a person collapses on the floor, they get that machine and they put that gel on there and then poof, shoot sparks back into your heart. Verses 3, which being extinguished, our body shall be turned into ashes. That doesn't sound like a Hebrew, because we don't have any customs of turning our bodies into ashes. The place that we find of burning bodies is for those who practice witchcraft. Mishpachah. Those who practice witchcraft. So when you burn the bodies, it turns to ashes. Could this be the speech of one who conjures, who deals in witchcraft? Let's read on. And our spirit shall vanish as the soft air, and our name shall be forgotten in time, and no man shall have our works in remembrance, and our life shall pass away as the trace of a cloud, and shall be dispersed as a mist that is driven away with the beams of the sun, and overcome with the heat thereof. For our time is a very shadow that passeth away, and after our end there is no returning, for it is fast sealed, so that no man cometh again. Come on, therefore, let us enjoy the good things that are present, and let us speedily use the creatures like as in youth. Let us use the creatures as in youth. Let us fill ourselves with costly wine and ointments, the spa treatments. I have a 1 o'clock appointment. They would call and says, "Hey, do you have any time on your schedule next week? I just came from traveling from Japan, and I want to book an appointment. Yeah, my nails, I'm not looking so, and I need to get a few things taken care of. Okay, no problem. All right, I'll see you there." Hebrews don't have $300 to go to these special places to get a glass of wine and get your toes and your nails taken care of. We don't have that kind of money. Let us fill ourselves with costly wine and ointments, and let no flower of spring pass by us. Got the bouquet of flowers, the music is playing in the background, the wine, getting the spa treatment, The ointments is rubbed on our skin. You're stretched out on a table, and they got these nice warm stones on your chakras, going up your chakras, your spine. They're pulling your toes, they're pulling everything, and oh, that's the right spot, right there, yes. And you're making you got your little phone, and you're making your little deals and whatnot, and that's the life. That's the life. That's what they want us to believe. But do you know that life is on the backs of other people? There's an exploit for them to gain that type of a life. Something has to be brought low for them to come up. Let us crown ourselves with rosebuds before they are withered. Let none of us go without his part of our voluptuousness. The figures, the beauty. Let us leave tokens of our joyfulness in every place. We call that funds or foundations, tokens. How do you think some of our people get into schools? The Ford Foundation sponsored you to go to school. So their legacy is always mentioned. For this is our portion, and our lot is this. Let us oppress the poor righteous man. Let us not spare the widow, nor reverence the ancient gray hairs of the aged. Brothers and sisters, that is called exploitation. Let our strength be the law of justice. That sounds like dictatorship. For that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth. For that which is feeble is found to be nothing worthless. Therefore, let us lie in wait for the righteous, because he is not for our turn, and he is clean contrary to our doings. He upbraideth us with our offending the law. You know what? You want to know why? Because we're always looking at the Most High's creation, the Most High handiwork, and see how beautiful it is, and we compare that with the skies. I was talking to a Hebrew, and I told him, look at those fallen angels. Now you may be asking, well, what are you talking about, brother? What do you mean fallen angels? You can see fallen angels, yes, and you can see them too. The fallen angels go up the sky, and they leave a trail behind them. And they come down the sky and they leave a trail. They fall from the sky, going that way, they go that way, they go the other way. And behind them, there's a huge cloud. Because remember, the Bible says he will be returning with clouds or whatever it is. These angels also create these artificial clouds everywhere. I call them fallen angels. You can call them planes, aircraft, whatever. But after all, they have a military or ex-military team called the Blue Angels. Have you ever seen a blue angel? Is there anywhere in the scripture that says angels are blue? Yeah, so these people are fallen angels. And I was conversing with this Hebrew, and I says, we were talking about how beautiful the day was, and then when we looked in the sky, you can see, but look at this. Look at this look at this thing spraying the skies. And he says, oh no, that's just water vapor. So it says, bruh, water vapor. He says, yeah, all the planes, they put out this vapor when they're traveling. I says, bruh, look at that commercial plane right there. Do you see any vapor behind it? He was quiet. Do you see that other one that is going up? And you see that thing right there? Look at this other one that is close by. Do you see the vapors on this one? Well, what you call vapors, those things are not vapors. These people are artificially making these clouds for a reason. The blue sky of the Most High, they have messed around, they've poked so many lasers in the sky. They have changed things so much, they've messed with the environment so much that clouds is not even clouds anymore. Now to patch things up, they're spraying the sky because of the holes that they're poked. How come we don't hear any news out there that every time you look, no matter where you are in the world, even in very poor countries, you see these jets going up and spraying the skies? Have you ever seen a commercial jet go straight up? Just straight up? To fly an aircraft, it costs money, not just for fuel, but to maintain the aircraft. Every time the aircraft goes up, there's a lot of wear and tear on the engines. It has to be maintained. It's very costly. Do you know of any third world countries that have aircraft, have the monies to finance aircraft going up every single day, 3, 4, 5 times the day of the day to spray the skies? Brothers and sisters, this is why when we start to point fingers at the truth and show the truth and point fingers at the lies and say, that's a lie, this is the truth, that's called upbraiding, the offending of the law, because the Most High made laws, the laws that we call the laws of nature, how things should operate. But what they're doing is offending the Most High's laws of creation. They're disrupting it. So now when we point these things out, it becomes an offense. Because third world countries are struggling right now to put food on the table. I'm sure if you do look at some of the footage with Venezuela or any countries that the money is worth nothing, and you look up in the sky, you can see these aircraft going up and coming down. It's not a third world country military that's doing this. It's the powers that be that rule over the earth that is constantly, they have an agenda, constantly destroying this earth. They have a problem that they created. They use these things to patch things up. And their warlocks is in the chalkboards drawing all these different signs, these different things, these messages that the fallen angels have given them to find formulas. Let's read on some more. and objective to our infamy, the transgression of our education. We are always speaking against how their education is nothing but wickedness. He professeth to have the knowledge of God. That's what we do. We profess to have the knowledge of the Most High. And he called himself the child of the Most High. That's the child of the Most High. Those who profess to have the knowledge of the Most High, us, was made to reprove those people, our thoughts, those people who profess to be wise. He is grievous unto us, even to behold. They can't stand us. For his life is not like other men's. His ways are of another fashion. We are esteemed of him as counterfeits. Yes, indeed. These people are counterfeits. They don't even fit. And I have seen, and I think a brother has posted something before. I remember a brother said that these Gentiles are nothing more than cancers. And it was doing a comparison with cells. When you look at the handiwork of the Most High, he's an artist. He's a designer. He makes things. And everything, you can look at it at everything and see replicas in different forms. Like when you look in the waters, you can see fish glide through the water. It has fins that flap a certain way and tails that move. Same way with the birds that goes through the blue sky, the fish in the blue water. Birds have wings and tails that move a certain way. We can see within our bodies, we have a universe, we have cells. Things go up and down. We are a replica of the earth itself. The same way the earth has seas, oceans, streams, lakes, rivers. We have veins, we have pools of water within our bodies. Things empty out and come in. We have all these things. We have you go deeper and deeper, you see within the cells themselves, you see another universe operating. But just as you have cells that replicate life, you have when the cells are not being fed or taken care of, when there's a injustice within the body, a breaking of the commandments, a defect within the body, it creates cancer. Cancer pops up, and the cancer starts to replicate itself by feeding off the body. It uses the body and it destroys things. It continues to destroy until it destroys itself. It doesn't know what it's doing. All it knows to do is just, I gotta destroy. I see this thing, I gotta destroy. They don't understand, but it replicates. It's so smart that it can produce another of its own kind that destroys, and it circles the body. It travels throughout the body, seeking places to destroy. Just as Satan goes throughout the earth, seeking to destroy, the Gentiles goes throughout the earth, seeking places to destroy, looking for other exploits, looking for other new ways to get water from a rock. Oil is not good enough. Now we're going to take the rocks and crush them to a liquid and get the stuff from the rocks. We don't care about the poisons that appears beneath the surface. We'll just drop some cement in that hole and call it a done deal. And then when the earth starts moving, wobbling out of a place, and they're wondering why we have all these tremors and earthquakes in Oklahoma every single day. Oh, we're going to tap into this volcano, and we're going to, because God gave us the power to have dominion over the earth, we're going to put something over this volcano, and we're going to move this thing here, and we're going to build this facility. Yeah, keep messing around and see what's going to happen. So the cancer goes throughout the earth. It doesn't know anything other than to make destructive forces like itself. And that's what it does. It continues until the body has no life in it, and the cancer and the body is destroyed. So it makes perfect sense to me. It makes perfect sense to me why someone would put that information that these people are a cancer to life on this earth. Because when you talk to them about what they're doing, it's like, huh? Oh, yeah, you're right. They get really, really quiet. You listen to them, you let them talk. Yeah, I went to school at such and such. I listened to them. Yeah, I went to school at such and such. And then what? Yeah, and I got my degree in this. And so what are you doing with that degree? Oh, yeah, I work for this company that do such and such. I remember talking to this one gentleman. Yeah, I work for this company that deals with food and stuff, pharmaceuticals. So it says, okay, so basically what you're saying is that you're messing with the food, right? He got real quiet. That life the way it was not good enough. That you can produce something that is better that we can consume in our diet. You can take this one gene out of this wheat, and now all of a sudden you have digestive problems. People are developing celiac disease. I guess that's how it's pronounced, celiac disease, where the follicles within the intestines is destroyed. It can't absorb the food anymore because they've tampered to produce massive amount of wheat. How is the wheat pollinated? Well, you got to mess around with the bees and the insects, or spray your own pollination stuff, artificial insemination upon all these living creatures. But what about the farm that's a few 100 miles away? Wouldn't the breeze carry your poisons to another farm? Yes. Wouldn't that kill that other farm? Yes. So if that farm is dead, where are they going to get their seed from? Oh, they're going to come to us. We have the solution. They're going to come to us. They can buy the seed at a low cost, and the seed has everything in it. It's a packaged seed. The seed will not suffer rot. The crops will not rot. The crops, insects wouldn't want to bite it. Brothers and sisters, if an insect doesn't want to eat something, that tells you off the bat it's not real. It shouldn't be consumed. It shouldn't be consumed. So now they're tampering with the insects. They're removing genes and chromosomes and mixing things around. So the insects can be their perfect slave. And after having conversations with people like that, their whole face changes. We are esteemed of him as counterfeits. He is abstaineth from our ways as from filthiness. He abstaineth from our ways as from filthiness. These people are a stench. And that's what cancer is. Do you know what the solution is for the Gentiles to treat cancer? It's called chemotherapy. We use poison, and we're going to kill the cancer, but not just the cancer. We're going to kill everything. It's what you call scorched earth. Everything is going to be bombed. In Vietnam, they use something called orange agent. I think that they probably use that for chemotherapy. Orange agent. They dropped that stuff and it killed everything that it came in contact with, brothers and sisters, the good and also the bad. So while you're thinking that these wars are just wars because two Asian people has a disagreement, one in the north and one in the south. You probably think you were told that in school that that's what it's all about. It's much more than that. You'd be surprised of the pharmaceuticals, the Catholic Church, and all these people working together in one concert, exploiting those people, running tests. When they drop bombs in Iraq, somebody is experimenting to see how the bombs work. Somebody in D.C. wants to make sure that their boys who's putting money in their campaign is taken care of. So they have a product they want to test. So the test subject is going to be those poor Muslims in some country. We're going to drop something over there. We're going to test it out. And then later on, whatever that we tested in that market, we're going to put that as pesticide over a farm or in your front yard to keep all your front yard looking uniform. Everyone's front yard has to be spotless. No dandelions, which is a medicine. Nothing called weeds. As a matter of fact, you're not even allowed for your grass to grow 2 inches too high or 6 inches to produce its own seed. The grass is not even allowed to produce seed, Mishpachah. You have to cut your grass. Otherwise, you're fined. With your HOA services, you're fined. They say, oh, we're going to charge you because your grass is too tall. And you're saying, well, I want this thing to produce seed so the grass can be replenished. Fresh grass. No, they says, nah, you can't do that. The stipulations in sections 8 verses 2.5, whatever it is, says that you must keep your grass cut every couple of weeks or we're going to fine you $100. So what do? You go to the same pharmaceutical companies and buy a package of fine grass, fine seed. You throw that thing all over the place, and this is how you keep your lawn looking nice and green. It's a wicked system. The Most High never said this is how we're supposed to operate. I need fresh water, I got to buy it. I need grass, I got to go buy the seed. I need this, I got to buy it. It's a system of slavery. And that's why we abstain from these people. We can't stand these people because they are like dung, like doo-doo. He pronounced the end of the just to be blessed. Why is the end? Why is the end of the just blessed? Because we have respect for the Most High's earth. We want fresh milk, fresh food, fresh water. We want real clothes that comes from living things. We don't want to take oil, turn it into plastic beads, take the plastic, mix it with colors, stretch them into fibers, and weave them into threads, and mix that with some cotton so it wouldn't be too harsh in our skins, and we buy those things as caps and jerseys and whatever it is. We don't want that. We don't want the electrical frequency in our bodies to change and be less so that disease can come into our vessel. We want the current to flow, everything to flow. So we want to buy linen and cotton, 100% pure linen and cotton. You know where the best cotton comes from? It comes from places that is hot. You can't find 100% cotton in England. It doesn't grow. You find it in Egypt, in all the hot countries. And the hot countries are where most of the people that has some melanin comes from. So the Gentiles give us something artificial, but they jack up the natural stuff. Linen that brings healing into the bodies. When the body is sick, you wrap the body in linen. You're not going to get any bed sores. That's why in the hospital, they used to use something called linen, but now it's not linen anymore. They call it linens. Oh, nurse, can you bring some fresh linens? But when you look at the label, it's not linen. It's cotton or some mixed stuff or something else. It's not linen. Go to any fabric store, Mishpachah. Compare the price of polyester with linen. Linen, the cheap linen is about $14, $15, $14.99 for a yard of linen. Cotton is $1.99. Not cotton, polyester about $1.99. Cotton is somewhere about, $6, $7 or whatever it is. It's a little cheaper, much cheaper, but the frequencies, the electrical currents within linen is a much, much higher level. That's why the Most High told the priests to wear linen garments, because they operated on a higher frequency and supposed to operate in a higher frequency with our Elohim. Israel's supposed to wear linen garments. So all that is put to the side. It's out of our reach, but the Gentiles. Let's continue on. And maketh his boast that God is his Father. Let us see if his word be true. And let us prove what shall happen in the end of him. For if the just man be the son of God, he, the Most High, will help him and deliver him from the hand of his enemies. It sounds like a threat, doesn't it? Sounds like what was placed upon Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Let us examine him. You know what this is called? This is called interrogation. This is called torture. Let's read. Let us examine him with despitefulness and what? Torture, that we may know his meekness. We can replace that word with weakness, that we can know his meekness. They subjugate us to see how much we can tolerate, how much we can stretch and bend under this this torture that they're putting us through. But we are very resilient people. We know how to take punishment, and we know how to make a very like I remember watching this brother. He's from Haiti. I think it's called Basquiat. Jean Basquiat, I think is his name. And he was an artist that would take garbage, anything that looks like trash, graffiti, and he would do all kinds of strange things with that thing. He would take trash and make it look artistic. And you know, his art was so powerful because he put messages, he took trash and put messages about how society is. And people will come in and look at his art. It's like, wow, I want to buy that for a few $1 million. We are so talented like that. We can take music, any little thing, just knock it together, put it together, and make music out of it. Beats, you name it. And they would come around us and be friendly. Hey, buddy, how you doing? And see our talents, how we can do certain things. Like, for example, in certain parts of Africa, the people would take, and you can look this up too, oil cans, petrol cans, kerosene cans, these different cans. They would cut a piece of wood, shave it down, they'll make a guitar out of it and make the body of the guitar with the cans and whatnot. And the Gentiles will come in and says, wow, I like that thing. It has a unique sound to it. It's really a beautiful sound that comes out of it. Taking trash and turning it into a musical instrument. Let me see if I can share that with you all. Let me share this with you all. Here it is, images. You see, they went over to Africa and found that the people over there would take these oil cans and make these instruments out of it. You see that? And the thing sounds so good that now you have these companies that have been set up. They go over there. First of all, they buy the stuff from these people for $2 or whatever it is. You can check it out on YouTube. And they will come over to America and sell it for $400-$500. And musicians who know sound and looking for something unique will say, I like, man, that's cool. I like that. That's cool. I like that thing. Mishpachah, our people are good at taking trash and turning it into treasures. But we don't ever get what's due unto us. See, we don't have the money to go and buy these Gibson guitars that cost $2,400, $3,000, $5,000. We don't have that kind of money. So we take an oil can and we knock it together. As a matter of fact, Dutch Shmuel was making a guitar out of cigar boxes. You can check that out too. You take a cigar box and you can make an instrument out of it. And they see that we can take these things that are throwaway stuff and they make a lot of money to bring these things in, to buy a box full of this stuff for cheap, probably spend no more than $50 US dollars, bring it over here and make 1,000 times more money. Businesses are made from this thing. Look at it. Let's go back to the scriptures. Let's go back to the scriptures. That we may know his meekness and prove his patience, let us condemn him with a shameful death. For by his own saying he shall be respected. Such things they did imagine and were deceived, for their own wickedness have blinded them. As for the mysteries of Elohim, they knew them not. Neither hope they for the wages of righteousness, nor discern a reward for blameless souls. For Elohim created man to be immortal and made him to be an image of his own eternity. The same way that the Most High lives forever, this is what the Bible is saying. This is what the Most High wants us to be. For Elohim created man to be immortal and made him to be an image of his own eternity. Nevertheless, through envy of the devil came death into the world. Satan was envious, death came into this world, and now People want to go after Satan, and however Satan feels, that spirit is within the people themselves. And they do, and that, let me read it again. And they that do hold on his side do find it. Those people that are on the side of Satan, guess what they find? Death. Let's look at some articles. First, let's go to this this reading in 1 Corinthians, and then we'll go to a few articles. 1 Corinthians 3:18-21. Let no man deceive himself. If any man among you seem to be wise in this world, let him become a fool, that he may be wise. Humble down yourself. For the wisdom of this world is foolishness with Elohim. The wisdom of this world. The wisdom of this world. You name it. Yale, Harvard, any of those so-called prestigious universities. Those are dumb houses. Houses of dunces. Fools, the house of fools. Because why? They think what they're doing is improving life on this earth. Let's read on. For it is written, he taketh the wise in their own craftiness. He catch the wise in their own craftiness. They fall by their own counsel. As the book of Psalms says, let them fall by their own counsel. They think they're wise. They think the vaccines is going to work for them. Let them go ahead. Because they want to break the Most High's laws. Don't be clean. Don't touch certain things. Don't mess around and sleep around or whatever it is. They're thinking that, okay, we don't want to hear that stuff. We're going to make these vaccines. We can just take a shot for syphilis. Boom, and we're good. We can eat whatever it is and just take a hepatitis B, whatever it is, C or A vaccine, and we're good. But later on, the Most High says, okay, so you think that you made the viruses that you're using to make your vaccines. Okay, I'm going to show you who made everything from nothing. I'm going to command these viruses to do something different. You can call them evolution. You can call them, what's the word I'm looking for? When something changes from not just evolve, there's a scientific word, mutate. Thank you, sister. You can call it mutation. No, that's the Most High doing his little thing to that virus. Virus, I want you to do a football move. You're going to go through there, and you're going to pass through here, and you're going to do this, and they're going to be like, what? Hey, Fred, I thought you said this thing works. What do you mean, Bill? But I just noticed that this virus is now unstable. But we tested it in the lab for like 2 years. Where did you test it? We tested it in Nevis. Nevis, on the little islands over in Nevis. We tested over here. We tested in the prison. We tested on these people that we call nothing. You know those people that are very resilient? They were taken on slave ships. They ate nothing but garbage. They slept in doo-doo. They went through all these things, and yet they survived, and they became a people. We know that these people are very strong people. We can throw anything at them, and they can survive. Yes, we have run all the tests on those people. And we made sure that the industry, the police department that we have in our pockets is arresting these people for whatever it is. For a little bag of weed. Because we've created an environment that these people have to prey upon their own selves to survive. To make a $300 a week, they got to sell these drugs to their own people. Because we're going to block them from going outside, and we're going to take away the strength from them mentally so that they feel less of a people. They don't know how to operate outside in the world. We're going to break their spirit so that they're forced to operate within a community we call ghettos. And then when they operate and break certain laws, now Billy, it's okay for Billy to have his weed farm in his basement, mama's basement. We're not going to arrest him for that. We're not going to arrest Sally for taking heroin on the street. We have special things to help bring Sally back or Lucy back from the dead. But these people here that came on these ships, we're going to force them to live like animals. And then we're going to arrest them, put them into prison, and then we're going to test them out because they're resilient people. They're survivors. So what are you talking about, Dave? The thing is good. He says, no, Bob said such and such. Okay, let's run another test. And they go back and they start messing around with all these things again. But the Bible says, he taketh the wise in their own craftiness. Let's go back. I'm sorry. And again, Yahuwah knoweth the thoughts of the wise, that they are vain. Therefore, let no man glory in men. Who are we supposed to put our trust in, Mishpachah? We're supposed to place our trust in our King. It concludes by saying, for all things are yours. The viruses, the bacteria, the oxygen, the soil, everything was made by our King. None of these people that call themselves wise can ever create anything from nothing. Now they have these machines talking about we're going to tap into black matter and black holes, and we're going to find a source of life. We're going to cause a big bang in a laboratory. Why can't they just speak machines into existence? Why use iron ore and all the products that the Most High has made, all the raw materials? Take the Most High's raw materials, make a machine that's supposed to create something that's supposed to be called the Big Bang, or the mind of God, or whatever you want to call it. Does that make any sense? You're using the Most High's material to say that you're making the Most High's mind. These people are so foolish. Yeah, CERN. That's correct, CERN. Let's look at some articles, Mishpachah. Let's look at some articles. Let's look at some articles. Where is it? Scientists successfully clone monkeys. Are humans up next? Look at the heathen. Look at the scared monkeys. They're so confused. They don't even know what's happening. New York. For the first time, researchers have used the cloning technique that produced Dolly, the sheep, to create healthy monkeys. You see how there were things? To create healthy monkeys. Now, Dolly, the sheep, was not healthy at all. It actually, those creations, those monstrous creations, actually died. So now they're putting the propaganda out that the monkeys are healthy, right? Bringing science an important step closer to being able to do the same with who? The same with humans. Now, what I would probably say to these people, if there any of them are listening, here's what you should do. You should take your mother, your father, your whole family, and clone them. You should experiment on those people. You should take all the people that has funded you and use them. You take their brains apart and use it for your research. How about that? Since Dolly's birth, They call it a birthright. In 1996, scientists have cloned nearly 24 kinds of mammals. They've cloned the dogs, cats, pigs, cows, excuse me, and ponies. Polo ponies, not even the little short ponies and whatnot, can escape those people. And I've also created human embryos with this method. But until now, they have been unable to make babies this way in primates. See that word? Primordial, or whatever you want to call it, mates. The category that includes monkeys, apes, and peoples. The barrier of cloning primate species is now overcome. The barrier. So the Most High placed a barrier, huh? So that's what you do. You find out that there's a barrier, and then you try to climb over the fence. See, fences are made to keep certain things in, legally that's supposed to be in there, and illegal stuff out. But these people want to cross over the fence that the Most High put up and say, okay, let's try to be God. In a paper released Wednesday by the journal Cell, he and his colleagues announced that they successfully created 2 macaques. The female baby monkeys about 7 and 8 weeks old, are named Zong Zong, Hua Hua, and Hua Hua. It's been a long road, said one scientist who tried and failed to make monkeys and was not involved in the new research. Now, the Bible in Ezra talked about Asia for a reason. And you know, I understand why they kept these books out. Let me see if you can find it. Because the handwriting is on the wall. And only Daniel and his people can translate the writing on the wall. So the heathen are like, their mouth has fallen trying to figure out these scrolls. And the only thing they can do is to leave it out. In the book of, I think it's 2nd Ezra, let me see if we can find it. It says, Asia, I got something against you too. Because you want to try to be like Babylon. Here it is. 2nd Ezra, 2nd Ezra chapter 15 and 46. Let's take a look and see. Let's pause on that for a moment. And let's go to 2nd Ezra chapter 15 and verses 46. And it's a bunch of woes. Woe to the world. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands and such like. Well, let's move on to verses 46. Then it goes into all these other countries, and what's going to happen to them. Then it jumps down to, let's go to verses 46. And you, Asia, that are partaker of the hope of Babylon, and art the glory of her person, who in this world is used to produce all of these goods for cheap. Asia. Here it is, right in the scriptures. Asia is mentioned as wanted to be like the Babylonian Empire, meaning the Great Babylon, or the one that is exploiting, the last day Babylon, the ones that is ruling this earth. See, the Asians originally, yes, they're very industrious people. But they had order a certain way and regard for family. They still do to a large degree. But if you look back into the spice trade, 12, 13, but mostly in the 1400s, Marco Polo and all the Portuguese and these people that were looking for the spices. Let's look at this carefully. The Asian people were not interested in conquering the world. They like where they are. They've been that place. They conquer among themselves. They do their thing among themselves, and that's it. Africa, the same way. The Europeans are the only people that can't keep their behind in one place, not satisfied with what they have. They always have to go somewhere. Now, when the Moors came into Europe, southern Europe, and was ruling that for about 800, 900 years, they brought education. If you look into the history of universities, the structure of the buildings and whatnot, they're the ones who brought all these different things. Arithmetic, when you look at agriculture, the planting of citrus trees and all those different things, water, the way water flows, they brought that knowledge to that part of the world. Astronomy, they brought those things over there too. When the Moors were kicked out, when the Islamic peoples were kicked out, and a lot of those Moors, our people were amongst them too, as slaves. We served as doctors, we served in many different accountants and whatnot. That's another class, okay? So we were part of that whole thing. When the Moors finally left Spain in the 1400s, kicked out, they took back with them their culture of spices and the food. See, the European food was very bland. Very, very bland. They had nothing in their foods. Parsnip, a white-looking carrot. It was very bland, and cabbages, white cabbages and whatnot. So when the infusion of the East came in with the spices and the trade routes were cut off, they started to panic, like, what do we do? So the popes give decrees and says, I want you all, in the name of such and such, the name of Christianity, to go into these countries that the Muslims had access to, and I want you all to gain all this knowledge. This is where gunpowder came about. Chinese had this thing. The Asians had gunpowder, but they weren't making gunpowder to go conquer the world. All of the teas and all of the spices and all those different, the silks, all these different things, quality stuff came from the East, from the East and parts of Africa. Those areas where they were able to go into the territories and make trades and get those things by boatloads and whatnot. So the Europeans followed that trade, and when the way that they were able to make deals were using the Jesuits. Look this up. The Jesuits is the CIA of the Vatican. They come as educators. They come as farmers. They come clothed certain ways, but they're working for Rome. They come into these countries and they start to subvert. This is why you had opium wars in Asia. This is why you had the Boxer Wars in Asia. This is why you had all these different wars, because the Europeans came in and started to put one against the other and started to heroin and all those different things. And this is how they gain a foothold in those countries. They tried to do certain things in Japan, and a lot of them got executed, but eventually they were able to find their way in there and paying off certain people, because this is how they work. They go into a country, they want to take it down. Let me find a few people, learn their language. Oh, I just want to learn your language. Give me some soup and I'll be all right. I don't want to take anything. Learn the language. Then they start looking around. Oh, what is that you're doing over there? Oh, let me show you how we do this. What do you want to know? Because I want to learn how to make the bread that you're making. Oh, what did you put in the bread? Oh, we use this spice. Oh, it tastes pretty good. Where did you get it from? Oh, we got it from that bush down the street. Oh, okay. Take me over there. I want to see where you get it from. And they start to put a journal together of everything, how you make the stuff, where you get the stuff from, and everything else. And then they take that information back to Rome. Rome uses the kings of Europe with their steel blades to bring ships to come into these countries and start waging war. They have the manifest, they have the documents showing where everything is. The Most High warned Israel and says to King Hezekiah, because he was sick, Hezekiah told the heathen, hey, come on and take a look. And Hezekiah opened up everything and showed the heathen all of the business, all the bedrooms, everything else. The Most High called hey, Hezi, let me talk to you for a minute. He says, yes, Most High. What did you show these people? Well, I took them on a little tour and just showed them the gardens. What did you show the people? Oh, Most High showed them everything. You showed them my bedroom, my business, my personal stuff. You belong to me. Okay, guess what? They're going to come and take everything, but not while you're alive, because you were good to me. You love me, but you're a dummy. But your children, through the reign of your children, they're going to take everything and make you all slaves. This is what the Gentiles have come to learn. They know how to come in, put the flag, the white flag. But while they're waving the white flag, they have a dagger in their socks. Their shoes, they just do a James Bond thing. Tap the shoe, and a knife comes out. So the Bible tells us, Asia, you are partaker. So Babylon got control. The Asians now are under the boot, and now they're working for Babylon to produce goods. It says, woe be unto you, you wretch, because you have made yourself like unto her. You have decked your daughters in whoredom, that they might please and glory in your lovers. Why do you think a lot of Europeans go over to Vietnam and all those places to find sex? Which have always desired to commit whoredom with you. The Babylonians, the Europeans have always wanted to be wrapped in fine silks, silk stockings, and drink fine wine and have all kinds of stuff. Where do you think Walmart gets their products from? Brothers and sisters. You have followed her that is hated in all her works and inventions. You have followed her that is hated in all her works. Everything that she does, nothing good comes from it. And inventions, saith Yahuwah Elohim. I will send plagues upon you. Why do you think some plague is always breaking out over there? Widowhood, poverty, famine. Why do you think when you go to these places you find the people are living in the lowest state? Sword, pestilence, to waste your houses with destruction and death. And the power of you and the glory of your power shall be dried up as a flower. The heat shall arise that is sent over you. You shall be weakened as a poor woman with stripes, and as one chastised with wounds, so that the mighty and lovers shall not be able to receive you. Let's stop there. Let's go back to the science piece. So he said it's been a long road. Said one scientist who tried and failed to make monkeys and was not involved in the new research, but they finally did it. You have Oregon Health and Science University. Make note of these places. Finally, they did it. Pooh, what a name, huh? Pooh. Said the feat shows that the cloning of humans is theoretically possible. But he said his team has no intention of doing that. Yeah, your team. But there's another team that is in the works. Mainstream scientists generally oppose making, look at the wording, mainstream. Scientists that have a reputation, scientists that have their face out in public. So that means to say they're non-mainstream scientists who do things under. You have never seen them. No, I mean they pass you in the supermarkets. You would never know that these men are criminals, wanted by the FBI of heaven. Generally oppose making human babies by cloning, and Pooh said, what a name, society would ban it for ethical reasons. What do you mean ethical? You don't believe in the Most High. Instead, he said the goal is to create lots of genetically identical monkeys for use what? For use in medical research. You know, if you have to go out with a stick in the park, any park that's close to your home, or even in your neighborhood, take a stone and throw it at somebody's dog or just a stray dog. You know you can get arrested for that. You know if you take a neighbor's dog and tie it down to a table and cut it up and poke things into it and draw blood from it and stretch the eyes of the dog open that it can never close and stick a needle in the eye of a dog, stick a needle in the ear of a dog, tie the mouth so it can't cry, and watch it suffer for an hour or two to see what will happen. Check the adrenaline level of the dog and use that information to design a product to put on the shelf so that a person can go out in the park and walk the dog. So a person can be able to inhale, not suffer from allergies or suffer from pet allergies, so they can walk their dog. If you have to do that, take that person's dog and do that, they would lock you up. But you can see the cycle of madness. The dog is used, the monkeys are used. But if you go to a zoo and you poke a monkey with a needle, they would have you under arrest. The camera would have have a picture of you, and you'd be in court. Your Honor, I just poked the monkey with a needle. What's wrong with that? Well, you broke the law. You incited pain and suffering upon the monkey. But Your Honor, your people do this thing every day around the clock. Your people. Order in the court. This is why Wisdom of Solomon was saying that people with wisdom agitates the foolish people, the ones who call themselves wise. You see, brothers and sisters, the medical research, the things that you buy for allergies, spring is coming up pretty soon, and you're going to run out to buy something to tamper the things that is out in the atmosphere, right? People have lived for thousands of years on this earth and didn't have all these problems, but now we have all these problems. Why? Because the cancer that is traveling throughout this earth is causing these sicknesses. So medical research, where they were particularly valuable because they are more like humans than other lab animals, such as mice or rats. So what they're saying is that if they gave us the green light, we would make clone people. So this is the original person. This person is losing a lung, or he has diabetes, or he has heart problems. So he's going to take one of his cells because he abused his body, smoking, living up a certain life, whatever it is. And we're going to take his cells and make a clone of him. And we're going to use that clone in a laboratory, cut up the body parts, and we're going to put the parts to the side. So whenever this guy, the original, needs a heart, he can go to his garage. We call it a hospital. We call it a lab. His safe house, or whatever you want to call it. And he can say, hey, my heart is not so good. Doctor would write up a prescription. Let's get his clone, open up the bag, cut it open. We have a fresh liver for you. The operation will be next Monday. Come on in for evaluation. We'll run some diagnosis on you, make sure that everything is, the vitals are ready, and get you ready for the new procedure and such like. That's what they're planning on doing, Mishpaka. Sister Hillary said, there is a movie called Island. I suggest you watch it. It describes Okay, you see? And I have never seen the movie before. Brothers and sisters, this is what they're trying to do. Okay. The process is still very efficient. It took 127 eggs to get the 2 babies. And so far, it has succeeded only by starting with a monkey fetus. Fetus is just a nice Roman Greco word for a baby. See, when you remove the word baby and you put fetus in there, it's just a blob. It's just something that happens biologically speaking, right? The scientists failed to produce healthy babies from an adult monkey, though they are still trying and are awaiting the outcome of some pregnancies. Let me see if I want to read anything else from this article. Look at the poor monkeys. Look at the poor monkeys. Look at this. The researchers said their initial targets will be Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. Doesn't that sound familiar? Like the movie Planet of the Apes? When the guy went out and because his father that he loved was dying, all of a sudden morality comes up. I got to save my dad. Let's go poke these monkeys. Let's go poke around with these living creatures that the Most High made. And let's extract this information and let us use it to save mankind. The mankind that they want to save is themselves. They don't give 2 hoots about you. We are just tools for them. Let's see what else I want to gain from this. All right, that's enough of this craziness. Let me see what else. Let's see if there's any more confessions by these evil geniuses. Okay, so we got Western Reserve University in Cleveland. All right. People for ethical treatment of animals condemn the monkey cloning experiments. Of course they do. They would. But they're all connected. They're all funded by the same monsters. The money comes through one door, like I was talking to this guy about. Haiti was destroyed with an earthquake, which might be the doings of these heathen, strategically placing bombs. But anyway, that's they call it conspiracy, right? Anyway, there was an earthquake in Haiti. All of these billions of dollars, these companies were set up. American Vampire Red Cross Association was there. Clintons were there. All these people were there. Money was put in. People sang and danced and rap and sing and whatever it is. Fundraisers, cooks came out, cooked food. We're going to $500 a plate. I'm going to take the money and the proceeds and help the poor the poor Hebrews over there. Brothers and sisters, why is Haiti still in the condition that it's in? Why? You want to know why? Because when you do the research, there was an article on NPR News saying that these so-called nonprofit organizations, whenever there's a disaster, they put up a front organization. They go through all these processes. If they don't have one already, they set up a front organization. And then they hire people. And I worked for a nonprofit organization before. When I look at the person who is in a mail room and I saw the salary, I was shocked. $30,000 for what? And when I looked at the people on the upper level, because I worked in an area that dealt with payroll and whatnot, and I saw the salary, I says, this is nonprofit. And then they said, hey, we're going to be having we're going to be doing a fundraiser, and we're going to have a telethon. Would you like to come and see? And how, we said, we do things. And I came and I looked and I saw all the phone lines, and certain people are talking to raise funds and whatnot. And guess what? It goes to the same people that are raising the funds. The salary, the money stays there within the house. 10% of that money may go to a Haitian to take the same rubble that fell on their heads, take that up and make these rubble houses, or buy a couple pumps to filter a few some of the water. Brothers and sisters, listen, man, this is Satan has played people real well. That's why I'm prodding you all. Stay in the word of the Most High. Stay out of the system. Learn to be separate from these people, to be a set apart people. Anyway, oh, look at this. So this says, I can't, okay. Of course, the familiar image of human cloning involves making a copy of someone already born. That might be possible someday. No, you have already done it. But I don't think it should be pursued, said researcher. You know why? Because somebody's going to shut them down, so they want to keep the money flowing. We're just using animals. Anyway, said this doctor at Columbia University, I can't think of a strong benefit. Henry Greeley, a Stanford University law professor who specialized in the implication of biomedical technology, says the strongest argument he can think of would be the desire of grieving parents to produce a genetic duplicate of a dead child. But he doubts that's a compelling enough reason to undertake the extensive and costly when you can get monkeys for free effort needed to get such a procedure approved, at least 4 decades and decades. Really? You arrested thousands, hundreds and thousands of our brothers and throw them into prison for little bags of weed. But now you pass laws saying that people can have weed. So years ago, it was a criminal act to have weed. Okay, I see a brother has his hand raised. Let me bring you in. Let me see. Give me 1 second, brother. Let me get you here. Okay, brother. Where are you? Brother, the mic is yours. If you know how to operate the mic, go ahead and speak. Brother Zephaniah, I think that's you with your hand raised. You want to say something? I'm going to put you back in mute. I don't think you're ready. Let me get some others to be moved over. Okay, give me 1 second. So, brethren, you can see why we have to continue to sound the alarm. It's the Most High is going to deal with these people. He has a long profile in how these people think. See, we're not the so-called fly on the wall to see and hear all the secrets of these heathen, but the Most High has the records. He has the video. Okay. So let's move on to another article for time's sake. There's an article out there, and this is the website for that. I saw the article a couple of days ago where it talks about the humanity star. The scientists went and designed a so-called humanity star that's going to orbit our planet. And it is geodisc, I hope I'm pronouncing it, geodisc sphere made of carbon fiber and so forth. That's going to circle the Earth for about every 90 minutes, and it's going to be the brightest star in the sky, the brightest star in the sky. Now, why is he doing this? He says that we are all one people and under one sky. And let me read some of the stuff. It says, for millennia, humans have focused on their terrestrial lives and issues. Seldom do we, as a species, stop to look at the stars and realize our position in the universe as an achingly tiny speck of dust in the grandest of all. Humanity is finite, and we won't be here forever. Isn't that the same thing that we read in wisdom? That's how they think. We won't be here forever. Yet, in the face of this almost inconceivable insignificance, humanity is capable of great and kind things. When we recognize we are one species, is that right? Responsible for the care of each other, is that correct? And our planet together, really. Never trust your enemy. Isn't that what the Bible says? The humanity star is to remind us of this. No matter where you are in the world, rich or poor, in poverty, in conflict or at peace, everyone will be able to see the bright, blinking humanity star orbiting the earth in the night sky. My hope is that everyone looking up at the humanity star will look past into, let me read it again, will look past it to the expanse of the universe, feel a connection to our place in it, and think a little differently about our lives, actions, and what is important. Wait for when the humanity star is overhead and take your loved ones outside to look up and do what? Reflect. We call it a moment of silence, right? Don't pray to the Most High, but you do a moment of silence. Who are you saying this to? You may just feel a connection to the more than 7 billion other people on this planet we share this ride with. Peter Beck. This knucklehead, numbskull heathen is telling us about a star. Now, let me tell you where they're getting this from. Remember what the book of Matthew and the book of Luke said about, we saw the star, and there was a proclamation, goodwill to man, peace on earth, and goodwill to all mankind, right? Yes, Sister Susanna, the homeless need food and shelter, not a ball of light to look at. Brothers and sisters, these dumb scientists will receive funding, thousands and thousands of dollars, millions of dollars, to put a rocket up in the sky, to pierce the sky, to poison the sky with fumes and fuel, to put a shiny object to go around the earth so we can look at, which is a copy of the star of our Messiah. Mishpachah, this is the signs of the Antichrist, or you can call it that. Satan's star. This is not a humanity star. And when you look up the term humanity, it all goes back into humanism, which is another catchword for Satanism. So you can check that out on your own. Let's close this out. It's enough of this madness. Also in the news, you probably have seen it before, but let's take another peek at this. Head transplant doctor claims first successful human head transplant on a corpse. Um, Mishpachah. They've done this with a monkey already. You've probably seen the video. Here it is. Scientists have been toying with the idea for about, let me back up just a little bit. Sergio Canavero sounds like a kind of carnivorous person, a carnivore. The controversial Italian doctor who just announced that he had performed. Let me back up. One nice thing about teddy bears is that if your dog tears the head off your child's favorite one, you can just sew it back on, right? Yeah, you can just sew the thing back together. So here comes this Italian doctor who just announced that he had performed a head transplant operation on a teddy bear made of bone-stuffed human meat. Let me skip on down. Scientists have been toying with the idea for about as long as organ transplantation has been around. The carnivore, the Italian carnivore himself, announced human transplants would be possible in 2015. So it's already been done. He says that research centers in the United States are unsupportive, reports USA Today. He claimed he performed the surgery on a monkey in 2016, but without reattaching the spinal cord and without a published paper. He went on to publish several papers claiming to sever and reattach animal spinal cords. You see, the condition for this ideology comes from Mary Shelley in her book called Frankenstein. Frankenstein. Think about that name. Stein. It sounds kind of Ashkenazim to me, doesn't it? Stein. Okay, do the research behind that book. You'll see what I'm talking about. But papers don't make clear whether he completely detached or mostly cuts through the cord before the procedure. These papers didn't have controls. His team published another paper this year, but once again didn't report whether they completely severed the head. See, these people like to play around with stuff. But anyway, if you cut a tumor out of a corpse, you didn't cure the corpse of cancer. You carved a slice of meat off a raw roast. See how they're thinking? If you swap a cadaver's head, it's no different from sewing a drumstick, to the wrong rotisserie chicken. Brothers and sisters, I'll just leave it to you to read and do the rest of the research, because this is the world that we're living in. They're using the Most High's creation because in their minds it is not good. It's not good enough. We can do something better. Life is flawed and we want to live forever, so therefore let us mess around. Let's take a look in the book of Joshua. The book of Joshua, and I want to read let me see where I want to go with that. Joshua chapter 4. And we'll read a few more in the scriptures, and then let's see, Joshua, yeah, verses 4. We'll read from there. Actually, let me read from verses 1, 4 and 1. Okay. And then the lines will be open if any of you all want to chime in a little bit. I'll cover a few more verses in the Bible, and we'll open the lines. Okay. Joshua 4, and 1. And all the days that Enoch lived upon the earth were 365 years. When Enoch had ascended into heaven, all the kings of the earth rose and took Methuselah his son and anointed him. And they caused him to reign over them in the place of his father. Now, when it says into heaven, please don't think it's where the Most High is, okay? There are many heavens. And Methuselah acted uprightly in the sight of Elohim, and his father Enoch had, as his father Enoch had what? Taught him. Excuse me. And he likewise, during the whole of his life, taught the sons of men wisdom, knowledge, and the fear of Elohim. And he did not turn from the good way either to the right or to the left. See, so we're not supposed to say, well, we're doing right, we're on the right conservative side, or I'm liberal, I'm on the left side. We shouldn't be on any side. Verses 4, but in the latter days of Methuselah, listen to this. Methuselah was right before the flood, okay? Right before the destruction. In the latter days of Methuselah, the sons of men turned from Elohim, from the Most High. They corrupted the earth. They robbed and plundered each other. How do you rob and plunder? Same way today. Robbing body parts. Life, taking life, chopping it up to try to recreate life. Plundered each other. They rebelled, marad, against Elohim, and they transgressed. And they corrupted their ways and would not listen or hearken to the voice of Methuselah, but rebelled against him. And Yahuwah, Elohim, was exceedingly wroth against them. And Yahuwah continued to destroy the seed in those days, so that there was neither sowing nor reaping in the earth. Let me skip over to, let me read some more, and then I'll skip over to verses, let me see. I'll skip on down to verses 14. So now we find that food was being messed up. But when they sowed the ground in order that they might obtain food for their support, behold, thorns and thistles were produced, which they did not sow. So every time these people genetically modified stuff, yes, KB, Frankenstein meats and Frankenstein this and that. All dead things can do is produce dead. If you shop around in a graveyard, if you go in the trash in a toilet and take doo-doo, you can't get life from that. And still the sons of men did not turn from the evil ways. After the Most High is doing these things as a sign, hey, the red light is on. Warning, warning. They're not changing. And their hands were still extended to do evil in the sight of Elohim. And they provoked Yahuwah with their evil ways. And Yahuwah was very wroth and repented that he made man. And he had thought to annihilate them, and he did so. Let me skip on down to where Noah comes into the story. And the wife of Lamech conceived and bare him a son, and at that time, at the revolution of the year, and Methuselah called his name Noah, saying, the earth was in his days at rest and free from corruption. And Lamech's, his father called his name Menachem, saying, this one shall comfort us in our works and miserable toil in the earth, which Elohim had cursed. Let me skip on down to verse 17. And every man made unto himself a god. What's happening now? We call it sex bots. Into artificial intelligence. And now there are brothels in England that has been manufactured in Europe, so men can go lay down with an idol that speaks with them and makes them feel good. digital demons. Every man made him for himself a god, and they robbed and plundered every man his neighbor as well as his relative, and they corrupted the earth, and the earth was filled with violence. And their judges and rulers went to the daughters of men and took their wives by force from their husbands, according to their choice. And the sons of men in those days took from the cattle of the earth. Listen to this. In those days took from the cattle of the earth the beasts of the field, monkeys, the fowls of the air, and taught the mixture of animals. You know what teaching mixture of animals is called? It's called your university. That's what it's called. They taught the mixture of animals, of one species with the other, in order therewith to provoke Yahuwah. And Elohim saw the whole earth was genetically modified. It was corrupt, for all flesh was genetically modified upon the earth, all men and all animals. Yahuwah said, I will blot out man that I created from the face of the earth, yea, from man to the birds of the air, together with cattle and beasts that are in the field, for I repent that I made them. And all men who walked in the ways of Yahuwah died in those days. He put them to sleep before Yahuwah brought the evil upon man, which he had declared. For this was from Yahuwah, that they should not see the evil which Yahuwah spoke of concerning the sons of men. Verse 21 and last. Noah found grace, favor in the sight of Yahuwah. I wonder how that was possible. And Yahuwah chose him and his children to do what? Raise up seed from them upon the face of the whole earth. Let us, let me go to, let's go to 1 Corinthians 1. You know what? I'm not going to go into all that. Let me go to back to my slide here real quick. I think that we all got the point. Romans 8:22 says, for we know that the whole creation groaneth and travaileth in pain together until now. The whole creation is tired. It's crying. Travailing is like a pain that just, you need some relief, and you're not getting that type of relief that you can call relief. It's just, your belly is about to burst. It's hurting you real bad. And that's how we feel to this very day. In the book of Psalm 73, it speaks of the frustration that David, and we read this before, was going through. When he says, listen, every time I walk around, every time I think about the mindset of the heathen, it pissed me off. I was so upset when I saw what they were, how they thought, how they were thinking, and I just had to throw my hands up. It's like, I can't deal with this stuff anymore. And then when he took a detour and he went into the sanctuary, he was able to gain some understanding. He says, truly, Elohim is good to Israel, even to such as are of a clean heart. That's Noah he's talking about. But as for me, my feet were almost gone. My steps had well nigh slipped. I almost collapsed. I was envious at the foolish when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. There's no bands, there's no limits in their depths, but their strength is firm. They're not troubled like other men, neither plagued like other men. It's like everything seems to be going so well with them. Because of that, their pride compassed them about as a chain. Violence covered them as a garment. They feel, hey, we can do things and get away with it. We're well protected. We're strong, like a chain is strong, linked together. This one got my back. The judge is going to cover me. The police got my back. The science got my back. Research is showing that everybody else is inferior, but we are superior. So you got the science department, you have the education department, you have all these things on our side. Their eyes stand out with fatness. They have more than their heart could wish. They are corrupt. They speak wickedly concerning oppression. Wisdom of Solomon. They speak loftily. They set their mouth against the heavens. Their tongue walketh through the earth. We call it English. Therefore his people return hither, and waters of a full cup are wrung out to them. They say, oh, how doth God know? And is there knowledge in the Most High? Behold, these are the ungodly who prosper in the world. Verily, I have cleansed my heart in vain, David is saying, and washed my hands in innocency. For all the day long I have been plagued and chastened every morning. If I say I will speak thus, if I speak against this people, behold, I should offend against the generation of your children, of these people's children. When I thought to know this, it was too painful. I can't talk to the people, not even to their children, about what's happening because the people are so lofty. When you drive around some of these neighborhoods and you see the beautiful gates and the compounds and how they can go in and out, they can jog the street with a little chihuahua with no problem. Nobody's going to bother them. Cameras are everywhere. They're secure. They can travel. They can go. They can eat whatever. Honey, what would you like for dinner? Let's order something. Okay, no problem. He says it was too painful for me until I went into the sanctuary of Elohim. David says, then I understood their end. You see, the only place, and this is why I'm telling you, the big belly pastor is lying to our people. They're lying to them, making them believe that we should trust in education, in a system that was never designed for us. Our system is the Torah, Mishpachah. This is how we understand our birth, life cycle, and also what is to come in the future. The world that we see right now is already in the hands of the adversary, and the pastor is part of that world. And his job is to keep you sedated, make you feel like there's a promise, and that go ahead, prosperity is going to be the answer. When we come to the sanctuary, we're supposed to know the truth, just as you are here right now, learning all of these different things that is happening, and understanding with wisdom, why we need to separate ourselves, why we need to separate from ourselves here first, and if peradventure we can get a little shalom lifestyle outside the city, do like Abraham did, and not dwell in the city like Lot did, we will have less contamination. Yes, there are going to be a few heathen around, Canaanites around, and whatever the case may be, but we'll have less contamination. We can drink our well waters. We can still operate to some degree. Surely, thou didst set them in slippery places. You cast them down unto destruction. How are they brought into the desolation? As in a moment, they are utterly consumed with terrors. As a dream when one awaketh, so, O Yahuwah, when you awakest, you shall despise their image. My heart was grieved, and I was pricked in my reins. So foolish was I and ignorant. I was as a beast before you. So David is saying, listen, I was walking the street kicking rocks, upset when I saw what was happening. until I got into the house of understanding, it brought to my attention, and I felt bad about it. I felt like a dummy, like a dumb animal without understanding. But you opened up my mind to see what this is all about, and you gave me hope. So there's nothing new under the sun, Mishpachah. And this is why, brothers and sisters, we have to keep fighting the good fight. We can see the exploits, how they've called us monkeys, and yet at the same time we see that really and truthfully they're talking about themselves. So brothers and sisters, I'm going to stop here. And I want to open up the mic for those of you who would like to share your thoughts. What say you, Israel? What say you, family? Trying to be God. This is what the people are trying to do. They're trying to be as gods. What's on your mind, Israel? I'd like to hear from you. Let's see what is happening in the news. Let's see. Oh, check this out in the news. Let me share my screen. This is another article. Almost missed this one. Close this out, close this out, close this out. Daily Mail, the end of men? Question mark. Experts reveal how the male sex chromosome could one day, oops. Let me stop this thing. Get rid of this. Oh, hold up. Okay, you know how these sites are. They have so much. Oh, come on. All right, here we go. Experts reveal how the male sex chromosome could one day disappear completely. University of Kent. Researchers have found the Y chromosome is shrinking. The Y chromosome plays a critical part in sexual reproduction of men. The male sex chromosome determines the biological sex of an unborn baby. So if we lose this thing, Mishpachah, if we lose this thing, if this thing is diminished because men are messing around, guess what? If the males are gone, guess what you have? You have nothing but females, the end of men. Because after all, Satan told the woman in the garden, you would be the one being as gods. You would be the one being as God. You would be the one in charge. So, what's on your mind, Israel? What saith you? Let's see. Anyone? Phone calls. No one would like to take the mic? Okay, well, if that be the case, we're going to close up with prayer. We're going to fight this fight.
Elder here.
Elder,
yeah.
Talk to us.
Oh, I can see the truth is will make us free. Yes, indeed. When we listen to the teaching that is going on, and we can see what man is doing, you know, the Bible tells us, just like it was in the days of Noah, this is where we are now. We know we are living in closing time. And all Israelites should do, all of us, is to remember that the only solution that we have to help, the only help we have is to stay in the Word of God. Pray, fast, stay in the Word of God, and live a good, happy life. So we know if we do that, there's nothing we can do because the wickedness of men is so terrible. Men is doing everything that they are doing because wickedness is in them, and they are not going to stop. They're causing snow, they're doing everything. They're making earthquake, they're making volcano erupting, they're doing all kind of things. You cannot plant to eat good crops, nothing at all you can do. You know, before time everything was good. You can have good potatoes, you can have good fruits without any problem. Today we don't have anything good. Even though you try to do it yourself, you hardly get something good to eat. You have to spend a lot of money to buy chemical, to buy the bags of things they're selling in Walmart and all those places to grow a little food, which is not even too healthy. But you know, teacher, it was only by the grace of God we are surviving. Nothing else we can do is to pray for the ministry, pray that God will continue to allow you to teach, and we all will support the ministry. And when Christ comes, we'll have a place in his kingdom. That's all we can do. We can't do nothing else. So I thank God very much for the teaching tonight, and also that he have you there to educate his children in the latter days we are in today. Praise God for that.
We give all praises to our King.
Brother Yona,
Brother Shema, what's on your mind?
just something quick. The one thing that is impossible is what man is trying to be. And the things that they think that they were created to be, they don't want to be. So it's impossible for any man to be God, but yet still they want to be God.
Mm-hmm.
But the things that are possible, they don't want to do. So everything impossible is where they head into. It's crazy, but that mentality there is the reason why all of us heading towards the doom anyway.
Yeah.
They basically going and wiping everybody out the way they actually moving with that. Because if you're going after something that you have no understanding about and you're trying to actually become it, then you're actually taking not only you, but you're taking everybody along with it, because in the end, you're going to actually force your will upon everybody else. And that's what we're seeing happening today.
Trying to be God. Thank you, Elder. Thank you, Brother Shamar. Any others? All right. Elder, let's get you back into the room. Brothers and sisters, I want to thank you all for chiming in tonight and for breaking bread through the word, fellowshipping with each other as the Most High would have us in these last days to keep the fire burning in Israel, to keep the light on in this temple that we have that is a temporary temple. Most High is not going to allow this type of thing to happen for too long. But we should be the generation, the Noach generation, who has found favor in the eyes of the Most High. So when the Most High is planning to wipe everything else out, that he's going to shelter and he's going to cover us. Because there's a new kingdom that is to come. And it's going to be a true rainbow that's going to shine throughout, where he's going to say, I will never destroy the earth the way that I have done. We're waiting for that day. We're waiting for the Most High to come to bring us peace. So I thank you all again. I love you all. Stay strong, stay sharp. And I hope to see all of you all on this road to Zion together. Elder, the mic is yours.
Our Father in heaven, we want to say we love you tonight. We bless you, we praise you, we thank you again for the teaching. We thank you, Lord, for the Shabbat day today. It was indeed a blessing from the beginning even up to tonight. I'm blessed. I thank you. Father, I lift you up for what we are learning today. We give you the praise. We give you the thanks, dear Lord God. We ourselves cannot do anything for ourselves, except, Father, you help us. Except, Lord, you guide us. Except, Lord, you teach us. Except, Lord, you protect us. Except, Lord, you direct us, that our step may be directed by you. Our speaking, our thoughts, our Father. When we look at how the wicked prosper, and what they do, dear God. Help us not to follow them. Help us not to have anything in mind of reaching to meet them or to even look at them. But dear God, help us to keep our eyes upon you, because this is the price. He that endure unto the end shall be saved. We cannot endure by ourselves. We can endure when we connect with you and you with us. We want, Lord, to give you the thanks for everything. We want to thank you again for the teacher, that how you blessing him. We ask you, Lord, to continue to protect him, continue, Lord, to provide for him and his family, that this gospel of the kingdom will be preached to in all the world, all around. This good news will go around, because it is the good news of salvation. Help, Lord, that it will go to the four corners of the earth, and at the end of that, you will come and we will be with you in your kingdom. Bless us and guide us. Give us a good night rest, that in the morrow when we wake up, Lord, we will give you the praise and the glory, because we ask it through your Son, Yeshua, our Messiah. And all God's children everywhere say, Amen.
Amen.
All praises to our King.
We say shalom. Good night.
Shalom, Mishpachah.
Shalom, good night.
Shalom, good night.
Set up that anti-life of illusion and invited the whole world to them yard. Subliminal messages intruding so rude when invading the thoughts. One go silence the lamp, protected by lion.
Wala Tov.
Lala Tov, Mishpachah. Lala Tov.
Things they call an act of God, merely an act of man trying to be God. We set up that anti-life of illusion and invited the whole world to them God. Subliminal messages intruding so rude when invading the thoughts. One go silence the lamp protected by lion.